Since starting this YouTube channel, I've talked to hundreds of print-on-demand sellers who are struggling with their business. During that time, I've noticed some common mistakes that you might be making right now. And in this video, I'm going to lay out these mistakes to help you avoid them. And especially the last one I'm going to mention is one that no other YouTuber ever talks about. So imagine you've got multiple ladders in front of you. All of these ladders lead to the top of a building. Now, if your task was to get on top of a building, you might just jump onto any of the ladders and start climbing. Some people are really good at climbing, some people aren't, but depending on which ladder you take, you might take ages and ages to reach the top of a building, even if you're really good at climbing, because you've picked the wrong ladder. You've picked the ladder that leads to a massive building, and it's going to take you forever. And even someone who might be worse than you at climbing, if they pick the right ladder, will get to the top of a building way faster because they just picked the right ladder. So why am I talking about ladders? Essentially, mistake number one that I see a lot of people make is choosing the wrong niches. And by the wrong niches, I mean very obvious ones, which are either hobbies that everyone in the world likes. A lot of people like gaming, so I'm going to make a gaming design. Or number two, sub niches that are very obvious. So if you're looking at a holiday like Easter, then a lot of people might jump straight in and do a cross niching between Easter and unicorns, because unicorn designs sell really well. They often do well for holidays, but that's like the most obvious choice that you could make, right? So you're picking the wrong ladder. You're making it harder for yourself to reach the top of the building, meaning actually getting a sale or getting multiple sales. Another thing that plays into this same mistake is people who just copy best sellers all the time. If you open up any research tool, it usually by default shows you the best sellers on Amazon right now, or Merch by Amazon shirts with like a 2000 BSR, which usually have been around for years and years and accumulated tons and tons of reviews and obviously sales history, and lots of people have copied these already before you. Once again, you're picking the wrong ladder there, making it really hard for yourself to get sales, even if you're really good at creating designs and listings. But if your research is wrong, then step number one in line has already gone wrong. So what's the solution to this mistake or this common problem? It's just doing more niche validation. I have got a separate video about this, how I go about validating my niches to make sure that there is demand and also not too much competition, so that we'll have a hard time climbing the ladder. So definitely, if you're struggling with getting sales and you feel like you're only entering the sort of obvious niches, the obvious trends, then you would have to spend some more time on niche research, niche validation before you jump straight into designing and uploading your designs. Now, I've pointed out multiple times on this channel that creating more original designs is a way more effective strategy for getting more sales than just copying what's already out there. And the question is, how do you create or come up with original designs? Because they're not that easy to come up with. I totally understand that. The mistake that a lot of people make here is that they don't know their target audience whatsoever. So if I think about some of my most successful niches, I know exactly what kind of people are going to be interested in this sort of hobby and what things they like besides the hobby that, well, is the main subject of the niche, what sort of age group they are, and what type of design would appeal to them. Because many times, if you just copy something that's out there or make your own version of a design without really doing any research, then you're probably not appealing to your target audience whatsoever. You might say, I don't know any of these target audience specifically, or I don't know a hobby where I have insight into the target audience. If you're struggling with that, then there's various different ways you can go about doing some research. You could, first of all, literally just look at reviews of some bestsellers on Amazon and look at what people are leaving as a review, because oftentimes they'll say who they bought a t-shirt for, or what those people really enjoyed about the shirt, whether they found it funny or whatnot. And that way you can do some like literal customer research for people who are buying in the same niche that you're trying to enter, and figure out what people like or who they're buying for, whether it's for their daughter, for their grandchild, whether it's for their parents, for their grandma. You know, you will get a better idea of the target audience that way. Another thing you can do is watch YouTube videos. So I've done this before. If I've come across a new niche and I didn't really know what it is about, I then looked on YouTube at various videos that have a lot of views and sort of got a feel that way as to, once again, who is interested in this topic, what is the sort of feel that might appeal to those people, and what do they like besides this niche that I can cross niche my design with, or what are some of their struggles with this certain hobbies. Maybe there's some challenges that they need to overcome, because that way you can often create funny t-shirt designs with things that are challenging in a certain hobby or a certain sport that everyone can kind of relate on and have a laugh about. Also, you can read blogs. Obviously, if you're more into reading, if you don't want to watch YouTube videos, you can just Google, look through forums. So there's various different ways you can get insight if you don't have it already. And there might be some niches out there where you already have insight, but you didn't really realize until now. And it might be just something that a family member does as a hobby, but that's not one of the mainstream things that you see out there selling really well as t-shirts. And if you have insight, that can be a massive advantage, but don't make the mistake of ignoring your target audience and not really knowing what they're about, what they're interested in, because that will make it way harder for you to get sales. Mistake number 3 that I wanted to talk about is not adding the right keywords to your listings. And I see a lot of people who kind of put their primary keywords into the title and description, but besides those, they just form really long sentences that kind of don't help with SEO or search engine optimization, because they're more sort of saying, oh, this is going to be great and make your loved ones laugh and it will work well as a party outfit or something like that. Oftentimes, those long descriptive sentences, they just add in irrelevant keywords that won't really help you get found for the niche that you're targeting. Let's say, for example, you've got a dog design and you title it funny dog t-shirt. Well, those keywords might be good, but they're also very broad, right? Lots of competition. So something else people might type in right here is gift for dog owner, or even more specific, gift for golden doodle owner, a dog breed, a specific one. So essentially you have to realize here that people type in or search for products in various different ways, not just funny dog t-shirt. There's like hundreds of different variations how they might want to find your design, and that doesn't mean you have to create 100 different keywords and slam them into your listing, but you have to really figure out some more relevant ones that can help you get found, such as puppies. So once again, with dog designs, some people might have a puppy version of that certain dog breed. So if you add the words puppy and puppies into your listing somewhere, then you're including way more people who might be searching for a golden doodle puppy t-shirt or a design or a gift. There's various different ways to spell t-shirt or product types. So you could put shirt, you could put T, graphic t-shirt, and I know on Amazon you can't really put the product types anymore, but I'm also talking about other platforms such as Etsy, TeePublic, Redbubble, where you can still add words like gift or present to your listing, and you should do that as well to help you get found. So try not to be too descriptive and write like a short story in your listing that doesn't really help you get found. Try and focus more on really relevant keywords that you can find with free tools, even like the Redbubble tag generator by Merch Titans or AMZ suggestion expander, which will literally tell you what people are typing in related to your primary keywords. So definitely spend some more time on writing your listings. I see a lot of people that just don't really put a lot of thought into them, and therefore are probably really hurting their sales. So imagine you're walking through a shopping mall or a shopping center and you see a lot of logos outside each shop on those big signs. Just think of what do those logos look like. So you might see the Apple logo, you might see the Nike logo, or McDonald's, for example. And what all of these have in common is that they're very, very simple. They're very easy to read or process if you're walking past them in a rush, in like a busy place, big crowds of people. The reason why these are so simple most of the time is because people really lack attention. We all have a really short attention span. If you plastered a really intricate design onto the wall for a logo, it would take way longer to process what it is about. You would just lose interest. And the same applies to t-shirt design as well. If people are scrolling through an online marketplace, they don't want to spend 10 seconds trying to read your t-shirt if there's hundreds of other options if they just move their finger a tiny little bit. So if you can't capture someone's attention by being simple enough and by having your words very, very readable or legible, then you're going to lose out on a lot of clicks and a lot of potential customers, because people, especially on their phones, don't want to waste time. They're just scrolling, and if they can't read your design within the first second, then they'll probably just scroll past. and ignore it. What is really important here is making your designs more legible, easy to understand and easy to read. So maybe take a look at your font choices. I see a lot of people who choose really sort of decorative, complicated fonts, maybe very serif driven fonts with lots of accents on the letters, and then make them quite small, or add an effect to it where it's arched, or just lots of stuff added to the font. Or very complicated fonts in a smaller scale are often really hard to read for people who just scroll past it. You've got it open very big in your design software, so obviously it's easy to read for you. But think about the customer experience. They are not seeing it in that big scale. They see it very, very small in a thumbnail next to lots of other t-shirts that might be way easier to read than yours. So if you want to use decorative fonts, I'm not saying that they're not useful, but use them sparingly or in bigger words, in bigger sizes. If you have to make text smaller, make sure it is a font that's easy to understand, like a sans serif font that's not too bold, not too thin, somewhere in the middle where it's still readable, which is basically the most important aspect of your design, is making people understand it, letting them be able to read it quickly and easily so that they'll actually be interested, click on it and potentially purchase it. So I'm guessing that most of you know how to drive, or that you drive a car. If you remember back to when you were learning to drive, that was the phase where essentially at first you just get all the theory, what are the rules of the road, how do we use the gas pedal and the brake and all of the other functions in the car, and what are the best practices of driving. So this is all the theoretical side where you take in information, and then you start to actually practice. You step into the car for the first time and you learn to drive with a driving teacher. If you think back to it, even once you've passed your test, you still don't really know how to drive very well. It comes over time with practice once you drive a lot on your own. I feel like a lot of people that I speak to, or there is a lot of people out there for sure, that are stuck in the first phase of learning to drive, except with print on demand, because there's sort of 3 stages to learning something. There is the taking in information phase, then there is the practicing phase where you actually do the thing, and then there's also teaching the thing where you get even better at the skill that you're doing, which you don't have to go that far, but a lot of people are stuck in stage 1 of just taking in information, watching a lot of YouTube videos, gaining a lot of valuable knowledge, yes, but if you never do the thing, if you're too perfectionist and you're scared of failure and never actually take enough action, you won't be very successful. You might have all the knowledge in the world, you might have been around very successful athletes, but if you never practice the sport, you're not going to get very good at it. Those athletes are only really successful because they've put 10,000s of hours into that sport. Don't be stuck in the theory phase of just taking in information. You have to take action. You learn a lot through action as well, not just through taking in information at the start. Maybe if you watch a lot of YouTube videos on lots of different print on demand tips or lots of different ways to make money, just step back from it, put more time into actually doing the thing that you want to do, because that's going to be the best way for you to learn and progress at the same time. Because remember, you don't learn how to drive a car by just taking in the rules of the road and how to actually operate the car. You learn it afterwards. Once you've passed your test, once you put in the reps and put in more hours, you might not feel much progress at the time, but it definitely comes throughout the years or months that you put into it. So I hope that helps you. That's a big mistake I think that a lot of people make, is just watching too many YouTube videos. And I know that's kind of counterproductive, me saying that, because now you might stop watching my videos, but it's actually going to help you way more than just wasting a lot of time on YouTube if you do the actual thing. And on that note, I won't recommend to watch another video today because I want you to take action, but please let me know down below in the comments if these mistakes helped you. Maybe I helped you reveal something that you're doing wrong. Let me know what you will change in the future to improve your print on demand business. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.